welcome to Coffee with Joy. I'm your favorite host, Joy, with Coffee with Joy Talk Show podcast. I am so excited, so elated to have my guest, Geri, who is a well-renowned stylist. I mean, she can put pieces together. And if you don't like it, I know she probably can probably put great pieces on you as well. So please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. If you have any questions, please make sure you put them below. So I know Geri would definitely love to answer. Or if you would love to, she does have her hand on her page. So after these messages, we're going to talk to my guest Geri all about styling. You know, the summer is almost here. What are some great pieces? And the fall. We know many brands are probably into the fall right now. But what are some great pieces? And we'd love to hear what her take is of all things styling. So after these messages, we will begin. Here, advertise your business on our podcast. Connect with us, the Coffee with Joy Talk Show podcast, and let's grow together. Email us and So welcome back to Coffee with Joy. I'm your favorite host. So I'm so excited. I'm bringing my guest Geri on.
Hello.
Hey, Geri, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So right before we begin, can you tell people a little bit about yourself? And then we're going to jump right into all things styling.
Well, I'm a stylist. I started in the beauty industry as a makeup artist first, and then I went through blogging, modeling, and really styling is what really kept me going. And also, I just decided to call it image consultant, right? So at one point, I'm like, I take care of the whole image from head to toe. You know, I work with a lot of artists and just regular people who want to work on their image, and I just love to guide them and then find the best look that works for their style.
Wow. Now, how did you get into this? Because we know it's not very easy when you're trying to consult the whole image of an individual. How did you get into this, and what is your love of staying in it?
I would say that my love first started with the makeup because I've always loved, transforming people and just highlighting their features. So from makeup through styling, I started with myself because as a plus size woman, I couldn't find clothes that really matched my personality. So I started creating my own looks, sewing and everything. And at one point, people started asking me, do you style? Can I get some help? Because they saw my style and they were like, you know what? I feel like you would be the right person to style me. And then with time, I just realized that I really love it. It's something that I love to do, and just how people feel at the end. It's really what keeps me going. It's just how people feel confident and happy, and they realize that they have everything they need to be able to look their best, right? So I love it.
Now, even when styling plus size, how has that been like one of your challenges or your most rewarding when styling a plus size woman or man?
I must say that it's challenging in a way, in a sense that yes, I started with myself, with styling and creating pieces, but when with clients, I realized that actually my first clientele were plus size women because I was like, every time I would see them on TV, magazines, and I was just never excited about what they're wearing. I just felt that they would make them look so boring and, with the colors and the style, and they always go with black, trying to hide the curves. And then I'm like, you know what? I think there's a market there. So I started working, and definitely challenges in the sense that plus size women all have different shapes, right?
Yeah.
So I always have to adapt to each and every customer and try to find the best shape for them. And I also find that more and more, at one point we had a lot of brands, and more I feel like we have less brands, more fast fashion. I'm not into fast fashion. So it's kind of hard to find like great pieces, quality for plus size women and men. Yeah.
And the reason why I asked that because it's so true. I think at one point, like back in 2020, we was fighting for the plus size
Yes.
community. And now, no shade to anyone who is in weight loss, on this weight loss journey. I truly believe health is wealth, but Ozempic is literally snatching everybody. Many people, now they went from I'm just, 300 down to like 190 to 150. And it's like, okay, I have to stop and think, are you still in the plus size? So your style. So it's like brands are saying, why do we need to make this? If people are trying to lose weight. And now granted, yes, it should be a lifestyle, but we're just looking at the outside. You're just losing weight, right? Not to say you're committed to working out, but just losing weight. So the style, when you get this high fashion, when you see this high fashion, what is something that really, as a stylist point of view, that really makes you like at the stomach at seeing this fast fashion?
It's it's really tough to compete. I
Mm,
mean, like you said, women are losing weight, and there's no problem with that if you
mm,
feel like, because some people really have health issues.
mm.
And at first, we all know Ozempic was created for patients that diabetes and whatnot, and now it's just people are just popping Ozempic left and right, and brands are not following in the sense that I feel like we're going back to really be, pushing being thin and losing weight. And with fast fashion, I find that the quality of the clothes is just the quality and the fit, you know? And it's hard because as a plus size woman, it's hard to shop online. Now, most of the stores are mostly online, and then when you get the clothes, you see how they fit. It's a manufacturer, right? So they create pieces, but it's not adapted to your shape. And with high fashion, whenever we see celebrities wearing all these beautiful clothes and whatnot, we all know that they were made to measure for them, right? And they don't necessarily offer that unless you contact them, and then they'll ask you like $20,000 for a dress, and like, who has that kind of money for, so it's very difficult to navigate.
Wow. And just to hear stylists say that, because I think a lot of people don't understand style. That's the
Mm,
first thing. So I think when they go for fast fashion and then when they put it on this model, then no matter what size they are, I think that individual look and say, you know what? They try to compare. Now, even me researching and looking, because the brick and mortars are
yeah.
not there anymore. And
No.
like yourself, I want to go in. I want to try, even if just to put it on, just to get that feel. And I think like after 2020, after COVID hit, I think they all just disintegrated. They
Yeah.
all off. And when you're looking at these models, like on these fast fashion across any boards, not to say any names, but just looking at them, one just say, you know what, I think I like that. That's my body. And then you have people who during their we call it a review, and you're trying
Yeah.
to match this review, not knowing that's not really style. You're just basically just taking that clothes off, just put it on you, and not knowing that it may not be a replica of what you want. So,
Yeah.
being a stylist, what is style? What is style? What is true definition of style in your eyes? And granted, it's probably undefined, but in Jerry eyes, who have done many canvases, what is style in your eyes?
Style to me is a visual representation of who you are, right? I always say, I was giving a conference a few days ago, and I said, I feel like everybody has a style, in the sense that if you wear a t-shirt and jeans and every day, that's your style, right? And sometimes I feel like people try too hard trying to find like that thing or that style. And, a lot of people, when they come to me, they're like, okay, some people are attracted to my style in the sense that they're like, okay, I want to dress like you. I think it's fun and whatnot. And some are intimidated. They're like, okay, I don't think I can pull this off. So it's just a question of figuring out who you are and what are you trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And from there, we find the clothes. Is it a hat? Is it frames? Is it, accessories? Sometimes it's a little thing that could just, make it from a regular outfit to a styled outfit, right?
Mhm.
So, but it starts from you within. What do you want to say? Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great to hear because I think many people they try to look at someone and try to replicate that style
Yeah.
instead of knowing that style is just you. That's why I stated before it's undefined. I don't want anyone to think, oh yeah, it has to be this way and that way only. And like you said, just find that one item that really resonate with you and that you love and that you could go against the grain because you are going to
Definitely.
get challenged in the world. You
Hmm.
know, you are going to get challenged. Now, what is one great piece that you like to wear or you like to style people with as far as like abstracts or any stripes, solids? What is something that you find more Jerry that will bring this individual out?
Um, it changed with time. At first, when
Mhm.
I first started, I was in love with corsets. I
Oh,
was like, oh my God, I would just throw corsets on everybody. I'm like, you get a corset. I felt
yes.
like everybody needed a corset.
Everybody get a corset.
Yeah.
Yes, corset it is.
And at one point, I was like, okay, maybe I should, try to also do more research. Because when you style someone, you also understand that it's not about me as the stylist, right? I could throw in my little, my signature, because I like to sew a lot. So sometimes I'll add a little thing, I'll add a thread, I'll add a button. I like to, add, and I love to paint on clothing also, just to add a little bit something. But it really starts with who I'm dealing with, and then start with the basics, because I find that a lot of times people don't focus on the basics. What I mean by that is when you go to a store, what's in front or the latest trends, right? From color to print to, but the basics we don't have. So we buy a bunch of stuff that we've been, shown on TV or on your phone. And then when it's time to get dressed, you're like, I don't have anything to wear.
Yeah.
So it's because that basic black skirt, you don't have that little black dress is still something that's important to have. A good blazer, a good pair of pants. So it's just the foundation. And those are not easy to find.
Mhm.
But once you find them, it's to invest in these pieces and to not buy them every year because you buy fast fashion and after 3 washes the clothes are disintegrating.
Yeah.
So for me it's like it's more about finding those basics and then you add elements to it, and then how that's how you build your closet.
Wow. And that's great to know because I think a lot of people get misconstrued about the pieces, understanding what certain items you need. I remember seeing on social media where I think they did like a voiceover with Steve Harvey when they was telling men you need your basic black, your
Yeah.
tan suit, and how you're able to, don't quote me, I think it's like 3 suits and you're able to change it around to make like X amount of
Hmm.
outfits. And just to be able to, stay within realm but still be unique. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand that concept. I think sometimes they just look at people and think, okay, I got to be out here, way out here, not knowing that sometimes the simplicity is even that style, just adding that
It
to
is. Yeah.
Mhm. Just adding that piece there. Now, what has been like your most combative style canvas or model when going against the grain of trying to give them something out of their comfort zone? You know, people want this. They want to look like, yeah, I am in front of Vogue, I am the best. But when it's time to put it on, they're like, that's not it. That's not what I'm thinking.
I
Have you
I
ever had these combative models?
um I have, because when you do like personal shopping, right? We'll go shopping, we'll go in
Mm,
stores. What I do first is I tell the customer, go and grab a few pieces that you would usually buy if I wasn't there, just to see what are your shopping habits. We tend to go in the same section, same area in the store.
okay.
And then I noticed that, yeah, everything I would suggest, because she was like, I want to dress like you. So I was like, okay. So me meaning, shiny shirt, a feather, hat. Like, I mean, I went all out because I'm like, you want to dress like me, so let's go. And everything, every time I would suggest something, she's like, oh no, no, I wouldn't wear this. No, I don't want to wear this. I don't want. It's like, I'm gonna look like a clown, and I'm like, but that's how I look. So what are you trying to say? It happens that
Right.
sometimes the clients are like, no, I don't want to look like, I don't want to draw the attention. I don't. And it's like, okay. So at first I was like, okay. At first I was a bit offended because I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I understand that it's not me. It's just
Yeah.
I have to slowly, baby steps, show different things. And I realized that at the end, it's how the person feels about themselves and how they see themselves in the mirror, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times on those social media, we'll talk about, especially in the 2020, people are confidence, body positive, and just pushing people to be love yourself and whatnot. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not the reality of things. And even me, I realized that because at first I thought that everybody was like me in a way, right? And as I meet clients and I talk to them, I realize that the issues are deeper than that. And some women they don't want to invest in their image. They're like, I don't want to buy clothes until I lose weight. When I lose weight, then I'll buy. I'm like, no, life starts now. Don't, who knows when you're going to lose that 10, 20 pounds. But right
Mhm.
now, why not take care of yourself now?
Wow.
So it's I realize that it's way deeper than I thought it was, because it's a form of therapy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Every time I'm done with a client, I feel like, yeah, it was a therapy session. Sometimes I'm tired. I'm like, it's very personal,
Yeah.
styling. It is.
I can't imagine because you made a key point there, just investing. And I think a lot of people don't invest in themselves. And I know we talking
Yeah.
about styling, but as far as like your teeth, your health, your skin, you'd be surprised how many people when they get out the shower, they don't even lather up. It's like,
It's true.
yeah, that's the image, and they expect to come to someone like you, expecting you to make a 360 when I can barely do a 180. Like you got to
Yeah.
do the part. You really got to take time to really invest in. If you wait, we don't know what that time is, and I think people lack that. They think they have time. They think, oh yeah, I
Yeah,
always
we do think that we have time. It's true.
yeah, and you really have to focus on. today, how can I get better today, and
Mm-hmm.
see what is happening, because we get so lost in the trends. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'll wait till I lose, like you said, like I wait 10 pounds. And that's been like a thing. But now that's back in 2020. Now here we are in 25. Now we have this rapid fire of, surgery. We have shots,
It's yeah, it's
and
a lot.
and that's anyone, right? And you could be what, 260 and or 210 and still feel like you're overweight, right? And you're wanting to get skinny. Like, I don't it's like, what is this frame of saying skinny when
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
wonderfully made, and
Mm-hmm.
not be able to go against that. So even when dealing with, slim models, do you find that to be even a positive, or even challenges along with plus models
Um,
when
I
style?
was surprised to see that it's the same thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
And could, seeing yourself, sometimes I'll see something and I'll realize that the client doesn't see herself the way I see her.
Mm.
When it comes to self-esteem and knowing your worth and how you love yourself, it's it's universal. It's not,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do if you're size 2. The girl can say, oh my god, I feel fat, and she's size 2. And I'm like, but what do you mean, and also I've learned to respect that,
Yeah.
because if you've always been a size 2 and now you're size 8, for you gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But if I'm 6'8", size 18, I'm looking at you size 8, I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not. But I have to, and I learn also to respect where the person's at.
Yeah.
And then I realize that, okay, so we're more connected than we think. We think that, it's the skinny girls versus, but no, a lot of girls, women, men have self-esteem issues, and it has nothing to do with the weight. Yeah.
Mm. And as you say, you're an image consultant, right?
Yeah.
How do you tackle the individual first before, okay, we even get to the styling? Like, what are some? You don't have to break down your full protocol, but
Hmm.
in order, like you said, it's a therapy session, right? Because some people think, oh yeah, I could get in here and look at some racks and put on the clothes. Because if you're not really into fashion, but you want to, sharpen up your brand, something
Hmm.
in you says, I want a new, right? And they
Yeah.
come to Geri and they say, hey, I want this. But in their mind, they thinking, I'm gonna go to a rack, because probably they watch Real House of Atlanta or they watch something on Bravo. So they
Yeah.
see that and they thinking that that's what you're gonna do, right? But
Yeah.
not knowing that it's some steps, that's some layers before we get there. So what are, and like I stated, you don't have to go through everything, but what are
Hmm.
something, if
Hmm.
somebody would have said, hey Geri, I need you as a stylist, can you help me? What are some things that you help this individual to overcome before we even get there?
Um, if I go with people who like people regular 9 to 5ers who just
Yeah.
looking to work on their image, because an artist is different. They have a special occasion. We work on their brand, and as an
Mhm.
artist, what you want to project. I always want to know why
Mm.
first. Why are you doing this? Why did you contact me? Why? Some people would say, oh, I'm 60, I just turned 60, and I feel like I want to just, change and whatnot. And it starts with the questions asking, what do you mean by change? What's wrong with how you are now? How
Mhm.
do you see yourself? So it's questions like that. And then I take notes. And with time, you easily start to understand who you're dealing with in a way.
Yeah.
And then I always ask them if you have like a style icon, someone that you
Mm.
love and then you're inspired by. Who is it? So then when they name names, I'll go check, and then I'll see what's the common denominator in all these people. What is it? And usually it's because how they carry themselves and they feel confident. And so that's how I start, which is the why.
Mhm.
And just to make sure that we're not going to do this in vain, and then in 3 months or 6 months from now, you're not going to wear the clothes that we bought, and you're just going to stay in the same space. Sometimes people, they want to do something just because they want to do it, but I don't necessarily want to work with someone who doesn't know why they're doing what they're doing.
Mm.
Sometimes I'll tell them, take the time to think, take the
Yeah.
time to, and when you're ready, call me. I'm not, I'll be here.
That's phenomenal because again, like you said, some people look and just say, "Hey, I want to do it," but don't understand their why. And then
Yeah.
now they feel it's because when they have that why, it really sticks. Why I need Jerry on. It's like a gradual release. I may have to keep her on for like 6 months or 9 months. In order for me to
Mm,
feel comfortable in this item and be able to move forward. And it
yeah.
could take you from the simplicity to the most extravagant is guest model that you have. And that's wow, I never thought about that. Really just sitting down, just having this conversation with the mom.
Yes. Hmm.
I think a lot of people just so quick just to drive in and look and say, I think this may be good. And there's so many avenues with that, right? So many
True.
ideas with that. And I think people need to understand that if you really want to shapen up, I'm still back on the image, because because I know it starts from within then coming out.
Yeah.
And when people say, oh, even like myself, when I go get my makeup done, and they said, "Oh yeah, your skin is perfect, no blemish." And I said, "Oh," and I just say thank you. But then at the same time, I say, "Why are you still charging me this amount? Then can I get like a deduction?" No here, no there, That's all. But you still charging me, but I
I
appreciate
know,
it.
right?
But no here, no
It's like
there.
your skin is so nice, you don't even need makeup, and you're like,
Yeah,
but why are we? Okay, yeah.
that's it. Like, can I get a little cost on that? I try to drink my water, try to eat right. Emphasis on try.
Hmm.
But then I started practicing my own makeup, right? And I said, well, I remember seeing someone use like, I guess they call it color correction, right? And I
Yes.
said, I don't, where is that? Where do I put that? And when the makeup artist told me I don't need that, then I'd start, now I'm invested. Because before I just go
Hmm.
get my face done. But now I know what I want. How do I want it? Now that I
Yeah.
know what to put, but it came with that why and really understanding how do I want this look to, how do I want me and not let this makeup take away just
Yeah.
because they can do the art. So I really, now that has me circling back to understand like now. So now I could do my makeup. I call myself plain in makeup.
Playing
But
the
it's
makeup.
just
Okay.
just the real, just to be able to understand and be able to do something quick, easy, how to get in and get
Gotcha.
out unless I'm
Okay.
doing a photo shoot. Now, with this, even with makeup, how did you get into makeup into leading into the fashion? You know,
Makeup. Since I was a little girl, I just
Mm,
loved, playing around with my mom's makeup, just out of curiosity. But again, I've always been obsessed with image. Whenever when I was a kid, I used to stare at people and just look at how they dress,
mm,
how they do their hair, how they do their makeup, trying to understand, why they're wearing what they're wearing today. And just, I'm always been fascinated by people.
yeah.
And makeup has always been a way for me to express myself. And I just love the possibilities of makeup.
Mm,
So, and then I just decided to go directly to MAC Cosmetics and just apply. And then when I got in, I was like, okay, this is really cool. And then I discovered the world. And then I went into fashion, which I worked with a designer as a operations manager to really help them push their brand with the fashion shows and everything. So
oh,
that's kind of how I got into fashion. I was always into fashion for myself.
yeah.
But when I worked with that designer, I realized that I have something to say and I should, keep on going on that path. And then it just so happened that people started contacting me also for styling. At first, I didn't want to fully do this.
Yeah.
I was working other jobs, here and there because I was
Okay.
like, can I do this for a living? Like this is my main job, right? And it's not easy,
Yeah.
it's not easy as a black woman in the industry.
Mm.
But at one point I figured, you know what, I feel like this is what I should do. So
Wow.
yeah.
Like when you're on set, like how intense is it? Because sometimes even where you may go on set and you need this and how to put this there, and time is of the essence, right?
Mhm.
So if you have like a 2 hour, we got to get in, you may have like 3 looks. How is that on set as a stylist trying to get your canvas together?
It's very time flies, so you absolutely have to be prepared prior
Mm,
to the shoot, right? And I kind of rehearse how it's gonna happen in my head the day
okay.
before. In my showroom, I'm looking at the pieces and I'm like, okay, we should start with this look and then we should go with because there's a method to all of this. Because usually
Yeah.
when you do a shoot, you don't start with your strongest look because the model has to start getting into it, right? Especially if it's not a professional model,
Yeah.
someone who's like, okay, I need new pictures for my branding and for my brand. We'll start with an easy, comfortable look, just so she could get comfortable in front of the camera,
Mm.
and then we'll work our way towards the one that's more fashion, that's more, that's more complicated, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just so that she's already comfortable, then we'll get the best pictures. But all these things I learned trial and error,
Yeah.
and it's just on set, it goes by really fast. If it's for a brand, if it's for a company, a magazine, yeah, because all the work is done prior.
Mhm.
You present the looks to the editor of the magazine before they see what you're gonna do. So when we get on set, we're not guessing
Yeah.
and looking and trying to figure out. Although I always leave a little bit of space for magic, because you can think that's what you're gonna do, and the day of, it's like something happens, and then all of a sudden I have an idea, or someone else has an idea, and then we come up with something. So you always have to leave space for magic, but you have to be prepared before. Yeah.
Mm. Now, do you have a team or just you when you working with the canvas, or that individual bring their team, or vice versa?
For magazines and whatnot, I usually work on my own.
Okay.
Depending if there's a lot of, sometimes a cover could be 3, 4 people on the cover, then I'll get an assistant, because I can't do everything to
Yeah.
prep the clothes and everything. So it depends. It depends on the task. Because I do a bit, I do different types of styling,
Yeah.
just so I can diversify my portfolio.
Hmm.
I don't want to always do the same thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
because when you work with artists, I always say that it's a very stressful.
Yeah.
If you work like an actor or a singer, it's the stress of, the pressure. There's a lot of pressure on how you look when you come out the camera, with the red carpets you see on TV. It's a lot of pressure, to make sure they look amazing. um a lot of them want to make the best dressed list.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure. So sometimes I like to work on like a nice commercial where I'm more relaxed, and it's just me dressing models, and I'm not thinking, right? Just
Yeah.
to balance, because only artists, I would not be able to do it full time.
Right. Just one, right? Now, what are your thoughts about make the Met Gala? What
Um,
what are your take on the Met Gala
I
from a
have I
stylist
have
perspective?
I have this theory that I'm always scared when there's too much hype. I
Mhm.
find that whenever we're hyping people too much, or just the whole theme, and our expectations get so high that we end up being disappointed in a way. So I kind of, at first I was disappointed, because I was like, I don't understand, like, to me, dandyism with the men and with the African culture, and
Yeah.
how they dress, and the patterns and the colors. I expected like some, you know,
Mhm.
and I felt that they were very simple. A lot of them had really simple looks. Like, women went more for elegant,
Mhm.
vintage, elegant. But I was like, I wanted women, more women in suits and just having fun, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that, but once I kind of like reanalyze everything,
Yeah.
I see the references. Some are subtle.
Mhm.
You have to do research to understand why they chose what they chose to wear. But I find that the Met Gala, sometimes you don't have time for research.
Yeah.
Like, people are looking, it's like, what are you wearing, right? So, um, some pieces I liked, but overall, I think other years I was more excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
But I'm
Just
still gonna go see I'm still going to the Met in New
yeah.
York for sure. I have to go see the exhibit, because for the culture is, it's
Yeah.
it's amazing
It's a
what
must.
they've done. But I don't know. Did you like?
You know what? I'm just always at awe.
Okay.
Um, because I have I have two seamstress, and
Okay.
I'm always trying to go against the grain. So I'm just looking as an individual on the bleacher, just looking like, wow, okay, this is
Mm,
nice. To have the detailing as a stylist or designer, I probably won't have that. So I'm looking like, oh yeah, this is cute. This is nice. It's like
I
going
see
to a
what you
football
mean.
game. You have somebody who can really detail the game. I'm just like, yeah, touchdown.
Yeah, okay, I get
More
it.
like Oh, that's cute. And
Yeah.
Jared's like, stitches off, but okay. I don't really see the
Yeah,
concept.
that's me in the
Oh,
background.
yeah,
Like, no, you look at the seam, look at how it fits. It doesn't, yeah,
correct.
I'm
So your
intense.
point of view, your viewing goes sharper. Mine's just looking big eyed, like, wow, that's nice.
Hmm.
So overall, I said it was good, right? Just blankly, the detail. I don't have much. My adjective can't be more expressive because I'm not zoned in. It's almost like going to a jury and someone wearing a ring. I can't tell if it's fake or not. I don't have that eye. As much as if it looks nice, it's blinging, yeah, it's glowing. But somebody might say, that's a fake. But I'm like, how did you know? So it's like that, right? So not to take away from the artist or what the theme was, is overall to me it just looks good. I like the style. I like to see the construction of it. Because I'm always trying to see, okay, probably I can do this. So when there's like a big event, I always try to ask my seamstress Anna, especially, like, hey, can we make this? Can we look like, get this at least 80% or something,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. It's
something along
inspiration. And
that way.
also, that's what I
Yeah,
meant by I had to watch the pictures and see it in a different eye. At first, I was looking at the seams, the idea, the construction, but then
yeah,
I needed to look at as, a fan of just fashion and just looking at people wearing beautiful clothes. And then I
mm,
saw more beauty and I'm like, okay, this is
yeah,
cool. Like I like what she's wearing. This is fun. And not think too much of what they should have done, because and I was just glad that they work with a lot of Black designers.
yeah,
And it was just for the culture. It was amazing. It was a great night, and yeah, there was a lot of beautiful pieces, And I had to I'm like, you know what? Let me just look at it as someone who just looking at a red carpet and just having fun. It's like, ooh, nice dress, and it's true. Being
yeah,
inspired whenever it's time to create, especially the plus size women, I always look at them. What
yeah.
Lizzo was wearing, I loved it. And I was like, okay, so elements like that could be definitely added to an everyday outfit yeah, to your seamstress. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years in this industry as you move forward?
That's a very good question. In 5 years, I see myself. Mm, I guess it's funny because whenever people ask me that question,
Mhm.
I realize that I'm really doing what I love,
Yeah,
right? And sometimes it's like, oh, in 5 years, keep doing what I'm doing
yeah,
because I love it. Having more of my point of view in the industry, be it because every week or so someone says you need a clothing line, you need a clothing line, you need a clothing. But working with a designer and seeing how it is the industry, it's not easy with the funding. It's very expensive. And at first I was like, okay, do I want to do that? I'm not sure. It could be an accessory because I love accessories.
yeah,
So definitely I would say, without getting too much into detail, it would be
yeah.
my point of view. Like in fashion, I feel that something's missing, which is my point of view. So I would probably come out with something. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's awesome. So, Jerry, it has been remarkable. I mean, we didn't even have to take a commercial break, people, because this conversation was so great. Let me tell you. So, as we conclude, what is something that keeps Jerry going? Affirmation, prayer, scripture, because we know as a stylist, you really got to take the punches. You really just got to take the list and keep going and keep the person going. But in order, what you're doing with the love that you have for this industry, what keeps Jerry going?
I would say with affirmation scripture, I would be two things.
Mhm.
No weapons formed against me shall prosper,
Mhm.
because this industry is not for the weak.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes I have to remind myself that, and to say, you know what, I am where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And also, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
I find that, I've been doing this for 25 years, and someone would say, and I'm like, you know what, I've been doing this for so long. I should be further. It's like, it's okay. I am where I need to be, but keep on building. And the more I build, the more, things, the blessings pour in. So for sure, if you build it, they will come. That's how I live my life. Yeah.
You spoke to me. That's truly it. You build it, they will come.
Yes,
People will come.
definitely.
So again, Geri, thank you for answering the call.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you
for
so
being
much
on
for
Coffee
having
with
me.
Joy. I am so excited, so elated. And please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. Geri had such a mouthful. We didn't even take a commercial break. And it was so much more stuff that I would love to ask. But please make sure that you leave any comments below, or you can reach out to her social media that will also be in the description box, that you'll be able to check her out. I mean, phenomenal. Just check her out. I had to get her. I thank God for her. So thank God for her for being on Coffee with Joy. So please make sure, if you would like to patronize our company, please make sure that you follow our QR codes that will be on our bottom right. And always make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe to Coffee with Joy. As you always know, if it's a weekend or a weekday, it is Coffee with Joy. Until then, you all live life on purpose, and see you all soon.